Imagine you step into a room. All eyes are on you. This attention does not come from your appearance, or the money in your pocket. It is only from your posture, your tone of voice, and the respect you inspire. People cannot ignore your presence. Now imagine the opposite. Even the people who should value you the most ignore you, turn their backs on you, or even downright disrespect you. Isn't it a heavy feeling? All of a sudden, your loss becomes a serious threat to them, because people easily underestimate the value of what they always thought was within their grasp. But one day, when they feel this silent power, that is, when they realize that one day you can actually turn around and walk away, their attitude changes. That's why the risk of walking away is not only a threat, but also a declaration of freedom. There is something that should not be misunderstood at this point. I am not talking about threatening to leave, but about actually and silently walking away when necessary. Quietly, without drama, without fake arguments or emotional manipulations. I am talking about just maintaining your stance, continuing on your own path, without feeling the need to explain to anyone. This is where real power begins. Think about it. A woman, a friend, an employer, whoever, if they are not going to face any consequences for disrespecting you, why would they change their behavior? However, when you silently distance yourself, you are reminding them that your existence is a privilege. And perhaps the best part is this: the courage to walk away is a message you are sending not only to others, but most of all to yourself. I am true to myself. I stand by my own value. I will never allow anyone to push me beyond my own boundaries. This is the purest and most powerful manifestation of self-esteem. This is why a man with high value never struggles to stay in an environment that harms him. He knows that living with the fear of losing is the first step to losing. Instead, he builds a life that is true to his own value, taking the risk of losses, with the awareness of his own value. And this life will naturally attract healthier, deeper, and more genuinely respectful relationships over time. What you have learned here today are not simple communication tips, but the basic building blocks of your character. Setting clear boundaries, avoiding unnecessary defenses, not giving in to emotional reactions, consciously managing your access, stopping disrespect at the first moment, staying true to your values, using the power of silence, and taking the risk of walking away when necessary. These 10 steps will transform you from someone who is blown away by the winds of the outside world, to someone who stands firmly at his own center. And remember, people are always naturally drawn to strong, determined and self-respecting people, because these people carry with them a source of balance, confidence, and inspiration. So these steps will not only make you more respected, they will also make you happier, more peaceful, and able to form more meaningful relationships. And perhaps most importantly, they will make you proud of yourself. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing is this: can you look in your own mirror and truly respect the man you see? If you can comfortably say yes to this question, what others do and think becomes a secondary issue. And at that point, the doors of true power and true freedom open to you. 1. Finding value in an inner attitude. Today, many men in the world are consuming their own value by trying to appear valuable in the eyes of others. Luxury cars, flashy watches, exaggerated success stories. However, none of these can replace an inner stance. Value is not something imported from the outside world, but like the ramparts of a castle built in the inner world. A man who is dependent on the looks of others will be blown away wherever the wind blows. However, a man who feeds his own value from within will stand tall no matter what storms come his way. When you are not trying to prove anything to anyone, when you are just yourself, that is when people really start to connect with you. Because the scent of sincerity and self-confidence is much more impressive than fake perfumes. A man who builds his own value walks differently. He does not look for approval when he enters a room, because he has already been approved in his own eyes. When he enters a relationship, he does not fear losing, because losing does not decrease his value. As your inner self-respect increases, the need for approval you expect from outside decreases. And right at that moment, people start to appreciate you more. Because no one wants to model themselves on someone who is independent, not someone who is dependent. TWO, carrying silent power. True power reveals itself not through noise, but through deep calmness. There are men who everyone pays attention to when they enter a room. They may not say a word, but their presence speaks. Those men know what kind of power silence is. A person who tries to show himself by shouting is actually shouting out the deficiency within him. Because as the voice gets louder, self-confidence decreases. However, true confidence takes root in silence. A quiet man has such self-control that his energy spreads into the room before his words, his stance, his gaze, his timing. All of them give a message as a whole: I am here and I am sure of myself. Silent power shows a man's spiritual maturity. Being able to manage the moment without being a slave to his emotions. Being able to respond calmly instead of reacting impatiently. These characteristics are only found in men who have known themselves and confronted their own dark side. Remember, people quickly forget what is said, but they never forget the energy you make them feel. Being able to penetrate hearts with a look, not a word. This is the silent language of true power. 3. Having clear boundaries. A real man is a man who knows what to accept and what to reject. A person who wants to solidify his place in life must first clarify his own inner map. What do you want? What would you never agree to? Where do you stand, and whoever crosses the line do you dare to lose? The answers you give to these questions determine your boundaries. A man who cannot set boundaries quickly becomes ordinary in the eyes of people. They start to see him as an option, an alternative, it's okay. Because by nature, people do not value those who do not value themselves. Remember, setting boundaries does not mean being combative or opposing everything. On the contrary, it means respecting your own existence. When you draw a boundary, you are sending a message to yourself first, not to others. I am here, and I am loyal to myself. When you have clear boundaries, people think twice before talking to you. They are more careful when asking for something, because they know that you are not someone who will lose. You are someone whose absence will be truly felt. A man who knows how to set boundaries takes control of his life. He becomes like a solid rock. The waves can crash against him but cannot move him. And the best part is, once you set your boundaries, you make more room for the right people in your life. The fake people will disappear on their own. Ask yourself, what behavior did I remain silent about today? Where did I not stand up for myself? These answers are the map of the new boundaries you will need to draw tomorrow. 4. Being able to walk away when necessary. Being attached does not mean putting down roots. It means being stuck, accepting to rot from the roots. A real man, in a relationship, a friendship, a job, or any other bond, if he feels that he is being disrespected, that his value is being disregarded, should be able to turn his back without blinking and walk away, without hesitation, without resorting to excuses, without feeling indebted, ... Because you should know that if the fear of losing chains you, that chain has already captured your soul. A man who values himself is not afraid of losing anyone, because he knows that no relationship, no job, no friendship that you will gain by trampling on your own honor, is truly a gain. A man who is at peace with his own value is not afraid of being alone, because sometimes loneliness is much more peaceful than being with the wrong people. Remember, those who do not know how to leave pay the price of staying heavily. If you value, you stay. If you are not valued, you leave. It is that clear, that simple. 5. Staying away from unnecessary arguments. Responding to everything that is said, listening to every call is weakness. A strong man knows the value of his energy. He does not waste time with words or fights. When someone throws words at you to provoke you, real maturity is being able to remain silent. Because empty arguments are the game of those who are burning with the effort to prove themselves. The only thing you need to argue about is your own goals, your own path. You do not need a war of words to reject the roles that others try to assign to you. A look, a stance is enough. The real leader is not the one who makes a lot of noise, but the one whose weight is felt. Sometimes the biggest answer is to say nothing, because a truly strong person dominates his surroundings, even with his silence. Wasting your peace, time and energy on people who are not worth it is stealing from your own life. You should ask yourself, what will I gain at the end of this argument? If there is no answer, let it go. Silence is always the heaviest slap. 6. Building your own world. Stop being a supporting character in the stories written by others. On the stage you call life, you should be the leading role, not an extra. Unless you write your own story, you will have to play the roles that others have written for you. You should have a goal, a passion, and walk your own path. A man who has built his own world does not need the attention of others, because his own light is already enough to shine in the dark. Remember, women, friends, and everyone around you, admire men who build their own worlds. Because true attraction is not born out of need, but out of original light. It is easy to be a guest in someone else's world. But creating your own universe is true freedom. A man who blows his own wind will not be swept away by the storms of others. A man who walks his own path will not stray from his path even if he is alone. Because he knows that the right people will come across him on that path one day. And then, relationships, friendships, and success will not be forced. They will occur naturally, through attraction. 7. Owning your feelings, but not being a slave to them. Feelings are one of the deepest and most powerful aspects of a person. Anger, disappointment, love, excitement. They are all part of being human. However, a man's strength comes not only from owning his emotions, but also from understanding and controlling them. Suppressing, ignoring, or keeping your emotions at bay will cause you to lose who you are in this world. A man should feel his feelings, accept them, but also not be their slave. Losing yourself to the power of your emotions will drag you into an inner chaos. This chaos will not provide the outside world with a sense of security and stability. A man's emotional intelligence determines the depth of his character. When you own your emotions, you make peace with them. This brings emotional balance and health. As long as a man can control his emotions, he will also be more resistant to negative influences from outside. For example, controlling your anger will not only make you stronger, but also create a healthier communication style. People will always show more respect to a man they know with a controlled and calm demeanor. Because emotional outbursts imply not only a weakness, but also insecurity and weakness. Therefore, owning your emotions, directing them, and avoiding unnecessary outbursts will make you a much deeper person. In a woman's eyes, emotional maturity is a very valuable trait. As long as you know yourself and develop your emotional intelligence, you will both establish a healthier balance in your relationships and bring a peaceful flow to your life. The more controlled and thoughtful your emotional reactions are, the more respect you will receive from those around you. Remember, owning your emotions does not mean controlling their power. Real power lies in accepting your emotions and living in peace with them. 8. Continuously improving yourself. Self-confidence is not a trait that can be gained once and carried throughout your life. With each passing day, a person's self-confidence is shaped, grown, and strengthened with new experiences. If you do not invest in yourself, you will stagnate over time and fall far short of your potential. Real value comes not only from the talents you have, but also from your efforts to develop each one. Physical, mental, and spiritual development is possible when a person constantly renews themselves. This process is a journey that will last throughout your life, rather than a starting point. Becoming a little better every day. Appreciating every moment creates a leadership power that inspires not only your own potential, but also those around you. A man's self-confidence is measured not only by his external appearance, but also by his desire for continuous development. This should be a mission that guides his life. You should adopt self-development as a way of life, not an obligation. In this way, you will radiate a silent but deep sense of confidence when viewed from the outside. Continuously improving yourself allows you to be a stronger, more conscious, and more peaceful person in every area of your life. The greatest enemy of a person is stagnation. If you stop, time will pass you by and you will fall behind. But constantly learning, changing, growing, and transforming will give meaning to every moment of your life. You must accept that improving yourself is a journey that will last a lifetime. 9. Keeping your access limited. Value is not something that can be accessed everywhere at any time. Gaining value in people's eyes is much more than being constantly a click away. If everyone can reach you whenever they want, they will inevitably underestimate you. Being instantly accessible makes you ordinary. However, being inaccessible from time to time, creating mystery, and making you missed is the natural strategy of high value. This is a kind of art. Reinforcing your value by standing in the background without making yourself stand out. Taking a break from your existence from time to time makes you more valuable. The secret to achieving this is to be selectively visible, without getting lost in the crowd. Being always present leads you to invisibility. Valuable things are rare. Something that everyone can reach loses its value. Make yourself rare too. Think of an antique that was once very valuable. Something that is not available to everyone, something precious and protected. And so should you be. Stepping back once in a while, making your presence felt, and making them understand your value when they look for you, actually makes you superior to them. That's why limited access turns you into a star. When you look at that star, everyone sees how high you are, but no one can reach it. Add mystery to yourself, and that mystery will make you special. 10. Keeping your words. The most valuable thing in life is to keep your promises. It is not how well you speak, but how much you are a man of your word, that is important, because a person's inner power is hidden in their words and promises. A man builds his world with his words, keeping the promises you make, or not making promises you cannot keep. This is the cornerstone of true trust. People measure you not with what comes out of your mouth, but with the stance you stand behind those words. Making a promise is not just an agreement made with words. It is also a commitment made with your personality. Nothing more, nothing less. If you promise, do it. This is a simple but important principle. Never make a promise if you cannot keep it. Because a promise is a reflection of your character. It should be this clear and obvious. The power of your word reinforces your honesty and reliability. The value of what everyone says in words decreases, but a person reveals the truth by keeping his word. People recognize and respect you when you stand behind your words, rather than the words that describe you. That's when the promises you make not only gain you confidence, but also lay the foundations for your inner strength. Here it is. These 10 characteristics will separate you from the ordinary crowd over time. People remember you not only for your appearance, but also for the power within you. Ordinariness consists of only the characteristics that make up the crowd you see around you. But if you step out of that crowd and become a leader who charts your own path, that's when everyone will notice you. Knowing your own value is a compass that will always guide you in life. Respect is not a chance or coincidence. It is a character that is consciously built every day. You become a stronger person with every step, every choice, every word you say. When respect reflects your inner strength and character, your surroundings recognize your own value and treat you accordingly. Therefore, gaining real respect comes from within, not from the outside. When you build your own character, people will respect you more. And remember, if you are as you seem, if you appear as you are, then the real power is in you. This is a sign of power that is true. Without lies, without masks. Because when people see you sincerely, they understand that you have value. They feel it not only as an external power but as an internal energy. Last word, power does not come from the outside, but from the inside. True power does not come from how much people know you, how much they notice you, but when you discover the deepest power within you. And the real issue is to be able to account to the man in the mirror, every day, not to others. Because in the end, the real accounting is with the person who knows you best, that is, with yourself. When you find yourself, when you discover the true power within you, you do not need the outside world, or the judgments of others. Then, only then will you be truly free.